investors into bonds are very different from equities. Right. In equities, you have domestic institutions, foreign institutions, and retail. In bonds, it's largely domestic institutions. There is negligible retail participation, and there is very, very small foreign investor participation. So it's largely a domestic institutional business.
And what drives that? Like, why would foreign institutions not buy, or why isn't retail a big participant?
Good questions. And various committees have been set up over the last 25-30 years to answer this, and largely failed at answering it.
Right.
So this is, at a much greater level than either of us, the answer to this question. But I think fundamentally, the kind of ease infrastructure that we've created on equity side, we were the first country to offer kind of demat, and settlement cycles, short settlement cycles, guaranteed settlements, and so on and so forth. So that infrastructure has not really existed on fixed income side, especially for retail. So it's been largely an institutional market. It's a large market, by the way. We didn't get to that when we discussed the size of the market. I mean, Indian equities, as we recently hit the $4 trillion mark, right? Correct. But about half of that is insider, which means owned by for example, public sector entities, government owns a large stake. Yeah, exactly. In private sector entities, the promoters own a large stake. About 50% of that is free float, right? So about $2 trillion of free float market capitalization of Indian equities. Indian fixed income market, bond market, $2 trillion. So the size of our market is comparable, and there is no such thing as promoter in debt.
Yeah, exactly.
It's borrowing, so everything is market. So the size of the market is comparable. The only difference is the investors are institutional, largely because of the structure of the market, which makes it much more harder for retail to participate. And foreign investors, has historically been a challenge for various reasons, but you've heard this news in the recent past that India is getting included in some global bond indices, which should drive foreign participation. Just like foreign investors have invested in India because of participation in global indices, right? A big chunk of global money which has come into Indian equities is index linked, and not index linked as in only ETF and passives, but even active managers linked to indices which have India as a share in equities. And going forward, I think we should see a much greater participation by foreign investors as Indian bonds, starting with G-Secs, get included in global benchmarks.